My name is Paige Smith, and I live over in Oxford. And I wasn't going to speak, but as I was coming over, I had my radio on, and it said that the Medical Society of New York has requested a moratorium to the state of New York until health impacts assessments are in place. And so I don't know which Medical Society of New York they were talking about on the radio station, but as soon as I figure that out, I'll send that to the board so that at least you know, because the stuff is changing so fast. That's one of the reasons why we're trying to give you this information, because it's coming in at light speed. And for you to try to take your time and follow it is silly. So thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
I have a potpourri of comments. I like to drive 80 miles an hour, and used to be able to do that through the endless mountains, so not too many trips in Pennsylvania. But you know, there's a law. There's a what do you call that?
Speed limit.
A speed limit. I'm not up to speed on this on my vocabulary. So there's a speed law. So you know, I sometimes don't drive 80 miles an hour. I drive the speed limit. And it's the same with public meetings. We might like to confine a town board meeting to those who are residents of that town, but there are open meetings laws. A town board meeting is a public meeting. Anyone can come. No one has to give their name. No one has to say where they live. My name is John Doe, and I'm from Utopia. There's no fracking. But I'm just responding to comments and also procedures in other towns, and I am thrilled that this town does not require me to sign in and to demand my name and where I'm from. So, moving on to the next topic. The different ideas. I'm a graduate of the University of Wisconsin, and there's a plaque when you go up the main hill there. It's a plaque from the Board of Regents, some such thing, 1912 or whatever. It's called Sifting and Winnowing. Who is a farmer here? You're not sifting and winnowing your wheat anymore, right? You have machines that do that. Somebody takes the kernel out of the outer coating. But in the old days, people used to throw it up and beat it and sift it and winnow it to get out the chaff. And that's what the exchange of opinion is. You know what's chaff. You know what's the real kernel, okay? But that's the advantage of having different people speak. Now, I have a question. Did this town allow the spreading of brine?
No.
That's fabulous. I don't know if I addressed this previously, but it has been spread a great deal in Shenango County. I'm very grateful it hasn't been spread yet in the town of Guilford. I'm going to ask them to pass a law banning it. Forget the fact that they're not fracking here yet. Ohio has had 12 earthquakes. They associated with the drilling of injection wells. Pennsylvania has been sending its wastewater to Ohio to be injected into the ground there. So because they've had these earthquakes in Ohio, they're saying, hey, we're going to have to hold back on this, and anything that comes in from out of state has to be tracked electronically as to what are the contents of the brine. Brine, by definition, is salty. It has bromides. If you take it to a treatment plant and it's mixed with chlorine, that ends up forming something called trihalomethanes, and it causes cancer. So and then that's often discharged into rivers, so it's increasing these carcinogens in water. Water goes downstream and becomes someone's drinking water. But when it's spread on the roads, what happens? Sometimes it has barium or strontium or radon in it. What happens when it's spread on the roads? It goes into the little creeks and streams and ditches, or it dries and then it goes into the air and you're inhaling it. So don't bother to have your basement tested for radon. Just walk on your road in northern Shenango County. So I think I'm going to I have copies of recent newspaper articles, and I'll have copies made, and I'll send them to the boards so that you can read. This is just a tiny few nuggets from what I've read. There's been a spate of articles on brine and the dangers of spreading brine. Thank you very much.
I'm Dave Gladstone. I'm on the Morris Emergency Squad. And to build on what Amy said, the reason I'm here is we're downwind of you. Everybody's downwind and downstream of somebody unless you live on the highest peak. Otsego County, again downwind of here, has a population of about 62,000, and we average about 400 911 calls a month. Bradford County, you go online, they'll list their population is 62,000. And they're not that far from here, so you figure the climate and terrain are the same. Since drilling began there, they're now up to 2,500. Anybody here that's familiar with the emergency squad knows how hard we are to respond to a few hundred calls a month. Imagine 2,500 calls a month. There's no way we could possibly deal with this.
Okay, Lori Will, Town of Plymouth, lived here all my life. Y'all know how I feel about this fracking, and I've discussed it before in my 5 minutes time. I want to know, when can we expect the town to take action on issuing a moratorium that around 625 Plymouth residents have signed a petition asking for? Can you answer me, Mr. Craner, when will you? There's no answer. Why?
Well, what about the concept of democracy? I mean, we've indicated we presented you with a
Wait, is there
very
any
strong-
time when there is a give and take with the town board? Because I've been to several meetings, and it's wonderful that we have a public comment period, but we have no give and take with the board. If we can't ask questions and have them answered, then we might as well twiddle our thumbs.
Okay, now I've been here for 55 years. I wasn't gonna say anything, but listen to some of this shit tonight, and I heard the stories, and I just want to ask, I heard today that one or two of you board members have signed leases of the gas company. And you can know if that's the truth or not. Any board member here that have leases signed, that you come against me here? Nobody wants to answer, huh?
two of them do.
Huh?
I do not.
I know you don't right here. No, I do.
They should
Yeah.
accuse them.
I don't think you should be on the town board and you're prejudiced choosing with us. All right, I'm silly, buddy. Nobody else?
Yeah, I think you should call this to a vote.
As a taxpayer,
You
a
shouldn't
big
be on the board.
taxpayer.
Hey, everybody was, we respect everybody's right to talk.
Legislation's supposed
This
to
lady here
As a taxpayer, I'm Joanne Baker, and I live on Route 23. I demand that you discuss putting bans in and protecting Plymouth. I demand that you do this as a taxpayer. It's not fair that we come here, that these people come here week after time, and you do nothing. You don't even give them an answer. It's terrible. Jerry.
public comment, anybody else?
My name's Alan Strong, I live here in Plymouth. I have a bad habit sometimes of surfing the web on the internet. And I came up with a website a while back, energypolicyforum.com. And virtually every negative that's been stated here tonight has been stated there too. I understand that the internet allows you to pick up whatever may or may not be correct. At the same time, I think when I look at some of the references and the people who have written these articles, they have more credibility with me than the gas companies.
My name is Gene Marner, I'm from the town of Franklin. I would just, in reference to what the gentleman just said, he referred to the Energy Policy Forum. That's a website that is run by Deborah Rogers in the state of Texas, who has been exposing what a financial fraud, this whole, and Ponzi scheme, this whole hydrofracking business is. And she will be speaking in Oneonta on April 25th, if you're interested.
Okay, thank you. All right, rest of the agenda, we're going to pay the bills. We'll review for next meeting, we'll have a construction meeting on the 19th of this month here at 4:30, right?
Right.
And I think, did they check it out with the schedule, that was okay? We'll find out.
You're usually out by 6:30, right?
So we're still conducting business.